Good afternoon and welcome to the Ask Dr. Renee Show. In case you've never watched the show, this show is here to motivate and inspire you to live the life you deserve. Because let's face it, we only got one life, and so we might as well do it up big, right? So today, first of all, I have to do my housekeeping as usual. You know, I always forget. First of all, everyone, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we have a new video. I actually will probably be doing another video today later because there's too much. I didn't want to put it all in this video. If you want to join my mailing list so you can know what's going on with me, not just here, but everywhere, you can text Live Life to 66866 and become a lifer, 66866. And I'll scroll that on the screen too. Don't forget to comment, like, share, start a watch party, which disappears next week off of Facebook. And the last thing is we have super chat and super stickers. So don't forget, if you would like to speak to my guest today, then you should probably participate with super chat, super stickers. And thank you guys so much for coming. And today I am so excited. So this is like childhood, like I've had one other childhood dream come true, and that was Tasha Scott. And I forgot to ask you, I knew you knew her.
Yes.
Tasha Scott, who actually ended up becoming like my sister friend. Like me and Tasha are tight. That's my girl. You don't know who Tasha Scott is, go watch True Beverly Hills and you'll know who Tasha Scott is. Watch 227 Amen, Tasha Scott. But Tasha Scott was a dream come true. This is another one. When they did the Punky reboot, I saw her on the Today Show and was like, oh, she's doing interviews from her home. Maybe she would do my show. And Cherie responded so quickly, you guys. It blew me away, okay? But I'm so excited to welcome Cherie Johnson to my show.
Oh, thank you. Hi, honey. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for taking the time to come. I so appreciate you. This is so awesome, and we are so excited. So as you know, the show is here to motivate and inspire people to live the life you deserve. I think your story is motivating, inspiring because one, you are of the era of child actors where a lot of them didn't make it to how old we are, because I think we're about the same age. So unfortunately, a lot of them didn't make it. But you not only made it, but thrived. You're a writer, you're a producer, you create movies. And I want people to know, in case they haven't seen what you're doing, I want them to go see it. And I want them to hear your story so people can understand that it is all possible. And if you have a child out there, last week we had Cece Michaela, who I'm sure you're familiar with from Girlfriends. She, talked about her story, and she's from a small town and how she got to Hollywood. I want you, and she's talking about how you can motivate your kids. I want your story to help people to understand that this is what can happen. So let's start at the beginning. You're from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?
Yes, I'm from a really small town 4 miles outside of Pittsburgh called Duquesne. It's an old steel town.
Okay. Now, isn't what's her name from Pittsburgh too? Oh Lord.
Who? There's a lot of people from Pittsburgh.
No, Parenthood. The older Reagan, isn't that her name?
Oh, Reagan Gomez? I don't know.
She's from something
Is
Pennsylvania.
she a Pittsburgher? I like Reagan. I know Christina Aguilera is from Pittsburgh. John Stamos is from Pittsburgh. John and I used to be on the same airplane a lot of the time when it would be like Christmas time, or our shows would take a break and we'd be on the airplane together going back home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So because you started working very young. So what age did you say, this is something I'd like to do? Did you tell your mom, dad, like?
I never thought it was something that I'd like to do. So I have a single mother who left Pittsburgh trying to give me a better life. When the steel mill closed, it was one of those like Detroit.
Like Flint, Michigan.
Exactly what happened.
The car industry left, Flint just fell down.
That's exactly what happened to my town. They closed the steel mill and it just became a ghost town pretty much. So my mom was very young. She got on a plane and she took me 3,000 miles away where really she didn't know very many people but her brother and her sister. And so my uncle produced shows like Laverne and Shirley, The Jeffersons, The Odd Couple, Happy Days, like all the great shows, Mork and Mindy, Silver Spoons. Well, The Jeffersons was on at the time when we got there, and then he had just created the show called Silver Spoons. Well, my mom trying to get her feet planted, she had to have job interviews, and she got her first driver's license in California. So my uncle kind of became my babysitter, and going to work with him became fun for me. So he would do things like hand me a script and be like, circle whatever they say wrong. So watching Ricky Schroeder work, I told him a couple times, I could do that. I could do that. And he was like, you think so? And I said, yeah. So one day I'm literally in my bedroom at his house and he wrote the script and he brought it to me and he said, hey, boo, read this and tell me what you think. At this time, my mom was a nurse. And so she was at work and he was my babysitter. And so he handed me the script and I read it and I was like, cool, when did we go to work? He wrote Punky Brewster. Well, he didn't write it with the intention of me playing Cherie. He just wanted to use my name because he thought as a kid I'd be excited to see my name on TV. I had whole different plans. I was kind of like, yeah, you can use my name, but you gonna use me too. So his wife at the time took me to the audition. And when I walked in the room, he gave me a big old grin, but I think he was kind of like, oh God, don't embarrass me. I got called back again. And then they went to Chicago and auditioned girls. They went to New York and auditioned girls. And they came back to LA and they called me in again. And after 7 times of going in, him and Brandon Tartikoff had a conversation. Brandon was the president of NBC at that time. And Brandon was like, yeah, your niece is Cherie. Hire her. And so that started the whole thing. But my mom has, not to talk too much, but my mom has a Jet magazine that said, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? Is acting your dream? And I was like, no, I'm going to be an architect. So it was never something that I actually thought that I was going to continue. It was kind of a cop-out, honestly, because I wasn't into school.
Okay. And so how old were you got the job?
I was 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many seasons were you guys on?
Punky ran for 4 seasons.
That's what I thought, but it's because seasons back then had so many episodes.
Yeah.
It felt like you went from 6 to 20 on the show.
I think from 6 to 12. We had 22 episodes a season, and now we only do 10 episodes. So it's a big difference.
Right. And so that's why, like I said, shows back then, they had so many episodes. It just seemed like they were on for so long, but 4 seasons, it seems like it was so much longer than that.
Yes.
And the funniest thing, because I watched the reboot, I just realized that you guys were in Chicago. I live in Chicago, of course, like I just told you, but I did not realize that until I started watching the reboot. I go, oh my God, I know where that is. I know where that, wait a minute. I did not realize that.
Because my uncle's from Illinois.
Okay.
And so Illinois is always, you know, held close to his heart. Almost all his shows were there.
Okay. That is so cool.
Thank
so
you.
Did your mom become a stage mom or she continued nursing?
My mom was a nurse through and through. She actually just retired after my daughter was born.
Wow.
My mom would sleep in my dressing room during the day and go to work at night so that I can live my dream. Yeah, she made a lot of sacrifices for me.
Wow, that is amazing. Are you an only child?
Yes, I'm her only child.
Her only child. Gotcha.
I have brothers, but they're the sperm donors' kids.
Okay.
And then I do have one little brother who's my daddy, because my daddy is somebody else, and my daddy has a son. Okay. So, and he's only 7. So him and my daughter are kind of growing up like brother and sister. It's really
wow.
Yeah.
Now I did read in your bio that you said that I got from your website, right? You're Puerto Rican too?
Yeah, that's the sperm donor.
That's what I was gonna ask. Which one? Okay.
Yeah. My mama's Black. That's one of the reasons why I stayed grounded.
Yes, Black women. Yes.
Yes, and she was always there.
Yeah, because as we know, so when did you go on to do Family Matters? Because 12, so you were in Family Matters. You were a teen though, right?
Okay, so Punky ended. I was 12. I did Days of Our Lives in between Punky and Family Matters, and then I believe I got Family Matters 1990 because I still have braces, and I actually took my braces off for the job.
Okay.
So 1990, how old was I? 14, 15?
Yeah. Okay. And so now Family Matters, as you guys didn't know, she played Maxine, Laura's best friend, and as we called him, Waldo Faldo's girlfriend.
Yeah, that's my boo.
Now I am one of those people, I'm very observant. So I was one of those people who watched Family Matters and was like, Judy just went upstairs and she ain't never come back down. And folks used to laugh at me when I said it. I go, I'm telling you, that girl went upstairs and never came back down. Then when she was on the Oprah Winfrey Show years later, she sat there on stage and said, I went upstairs and never came back down. And everyone's like, oh, Renee, you were right. I told you, I watched, I saw. Just one day she'd never come back.
Yeah.
That poor girl, she's had quite a life.
She's doing amazing.
Now, yes, I know that but in between. And I'm glad that your mom was there to make certain that,
Our parents were kind of different. You know, I didn't come from a showbiz family. She comes from a showbiz family.
Okay.
And so I think that there's pressures and I don't know, there's a lot of outside influence that went on with her being in the business. For me, it was kind of like, do you want to go on this audition? If you don't want to go, you don't have to. And I was like, yo, if I go on this audition, I'm gonna get out of school early and she either gonna take me to McDonald's or I'm gonna go to Hamburger Hamlet if she let me go in somewhere we go sit down. So I was just trying to get out of school and get some food. For her, it was probably like, you have an audition today, let's prepare, let's do this. My mom was like, here's your lines, you know, throwing it in the back of the car while she's driving on the freeway. I learned my lines on the freeway and that was it. You know, I went in and if I didn't get the job, I didn't get the job. And if I did, great. And then it was still, you got the job, do you want to do it? It was always a choice.
Gotcha. Awesome. So when Family Matters was over, did you say, okay, I want to get behind the camera, or what did you decide?
No, when Family Matters was over, I started like going on auditions again. But what most people don't realize is I was an adult. Family Matters ended like 98. And I was I don't know how old I was, so don't get me the line, but I was like 20s, like mid 20s. And I was going on auditions, and then finally a casting director pulled me to the side. He said, hey, you've been in here all week going on these commercial auditions. We're never going to give you a job. And I said, what do you mean? He said, baby, your face is recognizable. We know you didn't work at McDonald's. We know you don't work at Burger King. You ain't going to be the girl getting Snapple. So we're not going to give you one of these jobs. And I was like, wow. So I went back and I talked to my agent. I was like, why do you keep sending me to stuff that I'm never going to get? Basically, they're just filling their quota. You know, if something comes across and it says black girl, mid 20s, I was going in regardless of whether it fit me or not. It took me a year and I could not get a job. They weren't letting me play the crackhead. I wasn't able to play the young mother. I wasn't able to play anything. And then finally I went in and Ralph Fourcroy saw me audition for the Parkers, and they gave me a job.
That's the guy, Moesha and the Parkers.
Yes, he's one of the producers, and Vita and Sarah were there, some of the producers as well. I think it was their creation. So they gave me a job on the Parkers, and it was December. So I had been auditioning January to December and never got a job and was really frustrated, wasn't really sure what I was going to do with myself. And after I did the Parkers is the first time Chip Fields was one of the directors. And Chip was like, hey, baby, what you doing with yourself? And I kind of sat with Chip all day and I watched her. I shadowed her direct. And then I started realizing there's 180 people working to make this show work. Why am I auditioning, waiting for somebody to give me a job instead of creating my own? And that's when life changed for me. Thank you, Chip. Seriously, it was her and my uncle were my inspirations to start doing stuff behind the scenes.
And so what was your first project, and can we still see it where?
Yes, it is a movie called Dead Tone, and I believe you can find it now on Amazon Prime. My friends and I had gone on a trip to watch a football game. And in the middle of the trip, we were like driving up this windy canyon, and Deion Taylor and Brian Hooks came up with this great horror film. Horror's always been my favorite genre. So I said, yeah, when y'all write that, you better let me produce it. And they did. They wrote it within like weeks, and they called me and said, so you're producing this thing. And I was like, I don't know how to produce. So I called my uncle and I called people that I know, and I listened to everything they told me, and we made this great horror film called Dead Tone.
Nice.
Yeah, and Deion Taylor's doing amazing. He's doing so many films. He has a great one out now called Traffic that I think everybody needs to see.
I think I've heard of Traffic.
Yeah, him and his producing partner Roxanne Avent.
And
We're
who did he play again?
He's the director.
Director Deion Taylor. Okay.
Yes.
And the director for, was he directing anything else that everyone knows?
They Yeah, he's directed a lot of stuff
Okay.
since then. Unfortunately, I don't know everything because
Okay.
I was gonna say I don't watch movies or TV or anything.
Okay.
But I did see Traffic and it's amazing.
No, I've heard about Traffic. Yeah. And I've heard about that. And I think I have to be in the right mindset for it, which is
Oh, it's
why.
gonna piss you off for
Yes,
sure.
as I said, that's why I haven't watched it yet. But I remember seeing and hearing about it and was like, okay, we'll just have to wait and watch it at the right time.
Yeah, I have a project in development that's kind of in line with it, and somebody mentioned it to me. I was like, "You need to watch it to make sure it's not what they did, but it's not. It's just
Okay. Similar.
yeah."
Gotcha. So how many movies have you done?
I think there's 16 that are out. I'm in the middle of doing one now. Um, I actually have to recast because DMX was the star of the film. We
Oh
have,
my goodness.
yeah, we've been in talks with him since January, and we were supposed to start shooting on Wednesday, this past Wednesday. And so,
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
That was so sad. I huge fan.
me
Um
too. That's
and
why I don't have on makeup today at all. I can't, and my eyes are puffy. It's been
I
a rough week.
I understand. I think that we were talking yesterday and we said they need to put all his prayers on an album.
That would be beautiful. He's one of those people that I don't think he's ever met a stranger. He's one of the nicest, most kind-hearted people you could ever meet.
I
And
remember when I went to the Bad Boy concert in Chicago, I was on Snapchat a lot then, and I'm looking and I saw him praying with everyone backstage. And my friend's like, "What is that?" I go, "It's Snapchat." And the man is praying backstage. She's here. And she's like, "What's he doing here?" I don't know, but he's here. And so we're just going through the show. And then Puffy brought him out. And I was like, okay, I'm done. This is the best show ever. It was already the bomb, but that like sealed the deal.
he's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm really, it's one of those. I've had two instances this year. We cremated one of my best friends last Saturday, and I regretted that I wasn't able to say things that I thought that I would have time to say later. The last time DMX and I were on Zoom, it was like his agent, a manager, and the director of the film, but we were having our own conversation, and I was like, I'll tell you later. And so I never got to tell him something that I wanted to tell him. So my thing is now, get it out.
Right.
Say everything you got to say while you can say it. But the one thing that I am grateful for, at least those two people, they know that I love them. They know that I admire them, and they know where I stood with them.
Yeah, and that is very important. I lost some people years ago that made me one realize I need my hashtag, which is my hashtag live life you deserve, which is why I fly off the seat of my pants now.
Yeah,
I am a Virgo and I am a planner to the T, but the way that my life is, if you saw it, you wouldn't think I was a Virgo because it's just crazy. But I
I
have
don't
to
plan
live this way
anything.
because I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, I'm a Scorpio, and from what I realized, if I plan life, it's not going to work out the way I planned it. So I just do,
Mm, yeah.
and
And
it works.
I do what makes me happy. That's a really big thing with me. And I try to help and bring others along and help them to be happy too. And so if I can help people, I try to help them. And if I can, I can't. But I try to help as many people as I can, which is probably why I ended up going to med school and becoming a doctor anyway. It was part of the whole thing. I just realized that I can help more people doing media than being in an office every day.
Absolutely.
And actually, you guys, my PSA about the COVID vaccine has 8 million views.
I need to go watch it.
It's on my channel. I just finally posted it last night because I'm lame. But it was so what happened is Facebook is trying to get actual people that know what they're talking about to help them to encourage people. So Facebook is actually pushing this PSA. I did not get paid for it, everyone. And actually I did the PSA before I got my first shot. I've had my first shot. I got Moderna. But they're pushing it, and that's probably why it has so many views because it's not like someone's paying for Facebook ads. Facebook is actually pushing this out. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, so I realized I wanted to reach more, and I could reach more doing this. So here we
So
are.
Lay works with a group called CORE, and they have vaccinated like over 700,000 people so far. It's something that she really believes in, and CORE has sites all over the country.
Wow, that is amazing. Amazing. I mean, just this week I heard about another young black person here in Detroit that died from COVID. And I'm just like, he was expecting a little girl. I'm not sure how far along, but yeah, I mean, just horrible. It's just too many people. I went to I live streamed a funeral last Saturday of a friend who died in Jamaica. She was a Chicagoan who left the country to be safe and to get away from it because she knew she had comorbidities, and she ended up getting it she got it a couple days before her birthday in February, and she died a few days later. And so I just
That's why I've been in the house, boo.
you and me both. That's what I said. I stayed in my apartment for 14 weeks last year, and that's because I did not want to wear a mask, and I knew I didn't want to wear a mask. And I said, well, if you don't want to wear a mask, you can't go out and see people.
I don't have no problem wearing my mask. I only went out, actually, I was in my, well, I've still been in my house. I was in my house from March when they told us to stay in our homes until September. I flew to California to work on Punky. We were COVID tested every day. They basically hubbed us. We were masked and shielded until it was time to actually record. Our makeup and hairdressers were not even allowed on the set. They took every precaution that they could to keep us safe. I came back home December 20th. I might have gone to the post office 3 times and took my mom to a couple doctor's appointments, but besides from that, I haven't been out. And when I'm out, I am masked and shielded up.
Yep, you and me both. I have a plastic shield that I just love because it fits and covers so perfectly. But yeah, and then I've flown. I had to fly. I had to vote for obvious reasons, you know. I had to vote in the election, and they screwed up my ballot, and so I had to fly to Chicago for a flight in the same day. I left and came back same day. I was home for dinner, and I had 2 masks on and a shield.
Yeah, we came home with a regular mask and an N95 and a shield as well.
Yeah, I had a regular an N95. No, I had a cotton over an N95 and then the shield.
Yeah, and I came home and my clothes dropped at the front door and everybody ran in bathrooms naked.
Yeah, you got to take it seriously. You got to take it seriously.
Yes.
Not to be played with, but hopefully you guys, we can have a summer. That's my prayer, that we can have a summer. We can actually.
I'll have a summer in 2022.
Okay. I understand. So you mentioned that you have a spa.
Yes, I am the co-owner of a spa. We have a place right now called Serenity in Sunny Isles, and keeping it all natural is the spa. Serenity is just like a subsidiary. It is an all-natural health spa. We unfortunately do a lot of plastic surgery aftercare, where we help ladies who have been a little botched get their life back, and we stop some ladies from going to get plastic surgery as well. We do laser sculpting, and the laser is pretty much as natural as you're going to get, along with a lot of other spa services. But all of our products that are made in-house are 100% natural, and you can pronounce all the ingredients. And I'm also a certified nutritionist, so I help people. My favorite thing to do is lifestyle changes. I love those clients who are either, you know, very obese, or if they have hypertension or diabetes. I like to help them change their life, and usually it starts from the inside out.
Awesome. So you guys definitely make sure you visit. I'll make sure the link is in the box below on YouTube. And then you guys, this is her website if you want to visit her website. But we have to talk about Punky Brewster. So that reboot was so good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You guys, it is 10 episodes. We want them to have more. So please tell us, what do we need to do? Do we need to write somebody? Do we need to tweet? Do we need to Instagram?
You need to tweet. You need to Instagram. I don't know if it's going to help, but I'll say write Peacock. Do not write me and Soleil. Soleil and I are not in charge of coming back, or the show would have never stopped in the first place, and we would go until we was 95. We love being together. But write Peacock and ask them to please bring us back, and ask them, can they like not give us anxiety? Can we just already get like 3 or 4 seasons?
Right.
Like, can they just put it in the package and let us go?
Right.
It'd be nice. We're praying and, you know, putting everything out into the universe and hoping that we get our karma back and manifesting.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
So, you guys, if you don't know, Peacock is the app that NBC has created.
Mhm.
They have really great programming, I must say. They do also show a lot of the shows that are on NBC. You can watch them on Peacock, like the Law and Orders and all that stuff too. And then I think the Today Show has some special thing on Peacock too. That's an extra thing that you don't see on TV. But I actually watched Peacock on my computer the
Yeah.
other day. I was like, oh.
You
Now,
can watch
what
it
I
on the
thought-
computer, on the phone.
It doesn't say. So Peacock is somehow associated with Apple, you guys. So if you have an Apple product, you can very easily watch it. Your iPad, that's where I first found it, was on my iPad, because I thought I was gonna have to buy Apple TV, because
Oh,
I
no.
knew you guys were coming, and I was like, what's the date? What's the date? And then I'm like, okay, how do I find this Peacock? So I figured out that if you have an Apple product, though, it will show up. So if you have an iPad, iPhone, I have a MacBook. That's why I was on my computer, my iPad. That is one of the easiest ways.
I have a Fire Stick, and we have it on the Fire Sticks as well.
We have a Fire Stick, and I couldn't figure it out.
You can put it, you would have to call my homegirl Michelle, because I don't know nothing about technology, but Michelle talked me through it on the phone, and it literally took 2 seconds to get it.
Okay. Okay.
I just didn't know what I was doing.
Okay, so you guys, you hear that Fire Stick as well, but please,
Yeah.
Peacock. Somebody said Peacock is blowing up. They really are blowing up.
WWE is coming to Peacock. That's huge.
Yes, I saw that when I was watching. Yeah, so they have a lot of stuff coming, but you guys have to watch Punky. It is so good.
Thank you so much. That means a lot, because you watched the original show,
Exactly.
right? So you grew up with us.
Yes, and you know what? I just, whatever website I watched that episode, I'll tell you about in a minute. I am gonna go back and watch the entire series, because that's just, I'm corny like that. So
No.
that's gonna be my little background while I'm working. I'm gonna watch the whole thing, because I actually was trying to do it before the reboot, and I just could never find the episodes.
We like to call it a continuation.
Yes.
Because it's kind of like you just look in Punky's apartment and you see these 2 girls who you've known your whole entire life. Yeah. Just continuing their life.
The tree house, the apartment, it is the same, and they're literally continuing their lives. Punky is a divorcee. Now, how did you? I mean, I don't want to give. Well, I'm sorry, y'all should have watched.
Well, I mean, there's no spoilers at this point. Everything I've already said on interviews, so ask.
So, Cherie is actually a gay woman.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm gay. I'm queer,
Okay.
and queer means that I'm open. You know, you're open to love who you love.
Yes. And the young lady that your girlfriend, fiance, is just fabulous. I love her. She was on something else I watched, and I could not put my finger on it, and I forgot to look it up. But she was on something else.
The Good Doctor?
That's, oh my God, it was Johnny's woman.
Yes. Jessica Nicole is so talented and so sweet, and we're so excited to have her as a part of the cast. Like, the day she came on, it was really weird. We didn't really get to know each other. It took a little bit of time because she was masked and shielded, you know? And so the first time I actually saw her was the very first night that we got to kiss. And when she took her mask off, I was like, okay, producer, she did good. She's a hottie. And that was one of the things that I had asked them. I think I kind of took them all back. When they came to me with the storyline, they wanted to know how I felt. I was really excited, because I believe that representation matters, and it matters with somebody that you've known your whole entire life. And then people who have an issue with it, they get to look in that mirror, you know, and they get to realize Cherie's the same girl you always loved. You no longer love her anymore. And if you don't, you have to realize the issue's with you, not with her, because she ain't changed.
Right.
And so when they brought it to me, I was like, yes. And I don't think they thought it was going to be more of a discussion.
Right. They thought to convince you.
Right. Soleil wanted to call me, and they wouldn't let her call me. They were like, no, we're going to call. And Soleil was like, why? And so she was like, I can answer for her already, but they wouldn't let her. And I said, okay, you got to do me a favor. And they said, what? I said, you got to give me a hottie. And I didn't use those words. What I said probably wasn't as nice. And they were the whole, you know, it was COVID, so I didn't get to see their faces. It was a phone call. It was silent. And I was like, you guys, hello? And they're like, oh, we're here. We're taking notes. I don't know what that meant, you know? And I was like, you need to do me this favor. I was like, I'm serious. Don't give me a stereotypical, like, one femme, one stud. I was like, I hear a lot that Black men say that Cherie was the first crush on TV, which I don't take lightly. I really appreciate that. Representation matters. There wasn't a lot of us. It was me, Tootie, and Janet Jackson. You know, there really wasn't a lot at that time. And so I said, you have to give them somebody else who they can have a crush on as well.
Yeah.
And then,
she's smart and she's Latina and
oh, she's Black.
oh, she's Black.
Jessica Nicole, she's actually mixed.
Okay. I did not know that. But
Yeah.
then you have Diego, and I mean the cast is just
very
Prince Jr. I mean,
yes.
It's just really, I mean, well, the show always had a mixture of everything anyway. So you guys just came into 2021.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I love about Punky. You know, it kind of took Soleil and I back for a minute because somebody said during our first little press junket, they were like, what was it like being the first interracial friendship on TV? Soleil's eyes got big, probably because she was scared of what I was going to say. And I looked at Soleil and I was like, who watched the show and thought about that?
Right. I didn't even, but I grew up always the only. So I guess I didn't pay attention because I was always the only one. And then there was,
Once I moved out of Duquesne, me too.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, but I don't think anybody watched the show and thought like that.
Right.
And I said, that was an adult mind. And Punky was groundbreaking, I guess, because it was never a conversation. You know, people always said, well, what did you guys do for Black Lives Matters? And I was like, Black lives have always mattered. You saved Cherie's life. I was in the refrigerator. Hello.
Right.
Like we did not necessarily tackle it head on because I think we always have.
Yeah. Yeah. And they did cover, they still have adoption pieces to it. It's just really good to watch it. It's really, really good. I knew I meant to ask you something. Now, Betty, Susie Garrett, oh my God, she was everybody's grandma, first of all. Let's start there.
Yes.
Now, was she really Marla Gibbs' sister?
It was her half sister.
Okay. I thought so. And you know, it says online, and I don't know if it's true, but they said she died in Detroit.
Yes, that's where she's from.
That's what. See, you don't know if things are true, so that's why I asked.
Yeah.
We are Detroiters, so we have always claimed her because I was like, well, it says so. Maybe you know. Yeah.
My grandma got cancer, and she passed at home.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, obviously they were older when the show was on, so we couldn't have them back. It was great to see I'll let y'all watch it, but there are people back that who else I'd like to see, but I think he did die. Mike Fulton, is he still alive?
Oh, TK Carter? Yes.
Okay.
TK Carter is still alive, and in fact, let's just say that a producer and I had a conversation and I handed him my cell phone so that he could get some phone numbers off of it.
Okay.
But I won't say whose phone numbers it was.
But yeah, it was good. And I like that, people did come back. That was awesome.
Uncle TK is amazing. And Uncle TK still works. He played Bobby Brown's father on the New Edition story.
Okay.
On Bobby Brown's story.
So it was so many people in that movie. I have to, and I've watched it 10 times. I read the book too, and I have to, But yeah, so he, that would be great if we saw him again. That would have been cool. But it's just, you guys have to watch it. It's really great.
I hope that there's a season 2 and more people will get to come back.
There's a lot of seasons. Look how many seasons Full House had.
Yes, they had 5, I believe.
Right, they had a lot.
So Leia and I are doing our best to manifest at least 8. That way we can do as many episodes as we did with the original.
Okay. Yeah. I hope so. You guys, and you have to, live streaming is the television is the new thing anyway. So get used to watching your television in different places that you're not used to watching it.
Yes.
In case you don't have a Fire Stick and you can't, and your Apple TV, you can watch it on your phone, on your iPad, And you could always screen mirror. Maybe that's what we did last week for the verses. We screen mirrored to the TV, and
Really?
yeah.
See, look, technology is not my thing.
I kind of a little bit. I understand.
Well,
I figure
you're
out
a doctor, girl. You're a whole doctor, which I love. My daughter thinks that she wants to be a doctor as well.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. So, okay, first of all, you guys, she has a 6-year-old who wrote a book. And so I know how hard it is to write a book. So, how did she even come up with wanting to write a book?
She wrote the book actually many years ago. She started reading when she was 2, and she loves books. She was in her high chair when she wrote the book. She told me, Mommy, cucumbers are delicious. And I have this picture. I took it with my cell phone. I didn't know that she was going to remember it. She wrote it in her head. And she kept telling me, like, you know how you do story time, you let kids play imagination? She kept telling me the same story over and over and over again about this little girl who grew cucumbers with her grandma in the garden. So I thought it was cute one time to buy her cucumber seeds and let her and her grandma go dig up the backyard. And she replayed this book for years and kept asking me. And I kind of just like kept putting her off because I never wanted her on the internet. I did not want the public to know her name. I actually moved out of California because I wasn't comfortable with the paparazzi. I lived in the same neighborhood my whole life where the Kardashians live, and they single-handedly changed our whole community. And so I was no longer like, into going to the grocery store because there were cameras there. And I moved to this little small town, and she just wouldn't stop about this book. And finally I told her, if you want to do it, you can do it, but you have to pay for it with your own money. Behind my back, she got on the phone with her Uncle Eric, and her Uncle Eric is her illustrator. Uncle Eric illustrated the book. She paid him $500 to do so. And yeah, and they took me to family court in January in my living room. And after family court, she beat me in court and was like, I want my book to come out, and I want it to come out Black History Month. And so her book came out February 7th. And she has sold over 200 copies.
That is wonderful. So can they go to your website and get the book?
Yes, the website is on The Real Cherie.
Yes.
And if you shop books,
I buy this book.
Yeah, thank you so much. She's also giving them away to libraries in different states who would carry them, because that's her dream. She just wants kids to go and read it. She doesn't care. She told me, I don't care about the money. So she took the money that she made and reinvested it in books just to send them to libraries.
Nice. So you guys, we have to go and buy this book. That is too cute. So when's her next book coming?
So the first one is Cucumbers Are Delicious, and she does have 3 more. I'm trying to make her hold off at least until the last quarter. I told her, when you put out a book, let it breathe. Let it see what it's gonna do. So who knows? Because I don't know. She could have called Eric already.
I love it. I love it. She sounds like she's going to be, if she decides to be a doctor, she'll be very good. But she's going to be a very wonderful, independent Black woman.
I'm sorry if you hear my neighbors. They just started mowing their lawn.
Okay, I don't hear anything. Okay. But that's really cute, and that's wonderful. Now, you said your mom slept in the dressing room and went to work at night. How did she? Because a lot of child actors, they end up broke. Like, if they don't end up on drugs, then they end up broke. How did you seem to, did your mom instill in you, okay, we got to put this much away and,
Okay, so the real story is I didn't know I was making no money. I had no idea. I mean, I did go to school. I had to go to school on set. And I had a teacher who I teased her, and I used to say she was like Hitler, but she's this little Black woman. And she made sure that I was not going to be dumb. But when I turned 16, my mom got sick. My mom has, she's been diagnosed with MS. She has lupus and fibromyalgia. My mom said, I just want you to know if something happens to me, you're going to be okay. Back in the day when they used to print your deposits in a checkbook, my mom handed me like this little deposit book or whatever. And she said, it's time for you to start, seeing what you make and learn about money. So I looked at it and I was like, whose money did you steal? And she was like, that's your money. And I said, that ain't my money. And she said, yeah, that's your money. Because I had a mom who would give you $20 to go to the movies. She wanted her change when you came out. You know what I'm saying? And then I had a car. I was allowed to like go to the gas station and to Burger King, and my mama wanted her change. I had a Ford Bronco. If I filled it up and got something to eat, that was $20.
Right.
You ain't give me nothing but 25. What you want back? And she was serious. So I didn't know that I had money. And the way they set it up was I got a small portion at 18. I got something else at 25. I got something at 30, 35. And my last portion that was given to me, well, I wouldn't even say given to me, was released at 40. And so it wasn't handed to me all at once. And I think that is what really helped. They have IRAs. I have a pension plan. I'm blessed. My mom kept a job until 6 years ago. She finally retired. Amen. So my family didn't live off of my money. And I think a lot of the kids who were working, they were working to support their families. And I didn't have that stress. I was just going to work, hanging out with my uncle, you know, playing with Sean and Soleil and Darius. Yeah. I didn't know I was making money. I wasn't paying bills. So
that is wonderful.
Yeah, it was a blessing too, especially, you know, I realized, I think in my mid 30s, every time I was going to dinner with my friends, guess who was paying? Me. Every time I wanted to go on a vacation or something, guess who was paying? Me. And so what started happening was the portions that I was getting was running out. And when my money wasn't fluid like it was, you know, when I first got my portions, my friends would thin out, which I think is a great thing, because by the time I had a baby, I realized, wow, people who I really took care of their kids, who I was spending, you know, $1,500 for back to school shopping, didn't even buy my daughter a card to say, welcome to the world. And so I had my daughter later in life, which I'm so thankful for. And I'm thankful for that last portion of money was given to me then, because all those fair weather friends were gone.
Yeah.
And I realized, you know, if everything was given to me all at once, I probably gave it all away, because it's the kind of person I was. I ain't like that no more. I don't learn. But that's who I was. Everybody has a sob story. And if you called me with it, you could get it.
Right.
Because I felt like, you know, I was thankful and I wasn't in need. So I didn't want anybody else to be in need either. Not that I want people to be in need now, but bro, you got to work, get a job.
Right. Right.
I'm just in a different place in my life now that I have a kid.
Yeah. But no, I mean, and it's good that you saw that. You saw the forest for the trees.
Well, I did. And then I didn't realize, like, I didn't get the big portions when I was young. So what I thought was, you know, I was okay. I really I
was balling, and I really wasn't balling.
I wasn't balling, but for me, I was balling. Like I got a check and I got an allowance, which I'm very thankful for. My allowance was $2,200 a month.
Okay.
So it's very like, that was my allowance. But for me, you know, I didn't really, my bills were paid. And so what are you going to do?
Right.
I bought everything I wanted. I did everything I wanted. I went everywhere I wanted, but I still was living on a budget, not even realizing. And because I've been able to live off of $2,200 my whole life, now I lived off what, 26? But it's by choice now instead of that's all I get.
Right. Yeah.
Because before I got a check from my business managers and payday, I was balling. You know what I'm saying? But really I wasn't. I was living on a budget. It was a great life lesson.
Well, amen. That good kudos to mom.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope she's feeling fine. Everything the nutritionist has helped her to.
Oh, she don't listen to me. Mom, it does not. First of all, I told you mom was a nurse.
Right.
So you can't tell. Nurses are the worst patients. I'm sure you know.
Doctors are too.
You can't tell them nothing. My mom, but she good. The reason why my house is quiet is because she got kids in the room. She done wrangled everybody in.
That's good. That's good. But yeah, kudos to her. Like you said, strong Black woman. She did a
Yeah.
wonderful job.
Thank you. I am so thankful. You know, growing up, I used to be mad all the time, like most little Black kids. I wasn't allowed to go nowhere. I couldn't go outside. I couldn't go to the sleepover. Couldn't go to the parties. But now I know why, and I'm very thankful.
Yeah. And as I watched the show, I said also, you guys look so good.
Thank you.
Like literally, I said it looks like they just dropped them into 2021.
Oh, thank
No,
you.
for real. I mean, really, just everyone looks healthy and, we've
I
done
was
well.
I was a little too healthy. I saw like I had like a double chin. I had that COVID weight going on. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I need to talk to them when we go back and be like, look, homie, I know she's short and everything, but do you have to like
Angle up like that?
like that's not attractive. So yeah, we real healthy.
That is too funny. How tall is she?
She's 5'1".
Okay, I'm 4'11". So
See, and I'm only like people always say, oh my God, how tall are you? Chill out, homie. I'm only 5'7". I'm not that tall.
she's just very short.
She's perfect.
She is. I mean, like I think I say small things come in small. The best things come in small packages. So.
And she is spunky and has the best energy of anybody you'll ever meet in your life. I have never met a person who is more confident about who they've been their whole life than her. She is the epitome of a flower child who loves everybody.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I watched a video with her and her daughter last night that was hilarious. And she literally does look exactly like her. And so she was saying when she watched the show, she looked like she's watching herself.
Jagger.
Yeah.
Her daughter. Yeah, it's really crazy. Jagger is Soleil's twin, and so is Story, her youngest. And my daughter looks just like me, but right now she don't have no two front teeth. But
the little mini me's. That's so cute. I love it. I love it.
And our kids are friends.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, like okay, so she has a son named Lyric, and I have a daughter named Rhythm. We didn't plan it; it just happened. And they're like, that's her love of all loves. Like the second we hit California, she's like, "You're gonna take me to see Lyric," and so that they can go off and hang out.
I love it. I love it.
It's really cute.
That is so cute. So your daughter, did you think she has aspirations to go, do acting as well as be a doctor?
No, my daughter doesn't listen to anybody. In order for my daughter, so there was an opportunity in the first season where we were at Finster Hall and they had kids. So Soleil asked Lyric, her son, and I asked Rhythm, and they both said no. They were like, we want lines. They want to direct, basically. Nobody can tell them what to do or how to do it or when to do it. They would take over. They want their own storyline, and they're the boss.
That is too funny.
I don't see it in her future unless one day she directs and starts producing. That I could believe.
Okay. That is too funny. Too funny. So, what do you think is next? Like, what are you trying to do? Besides, we're gonna have 8 seasons of Punky, but what is next for Cherie Johnson?
I'm an author, so I am going to try to put out a book before the end of the year. It'll probably be my 6th book that's going to be out. I don't know which one it's going to be yet. It all depends on how I feel and which one I end up.
Are these fiction?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm producing a project right now. And so hopefully I'll be able to talk about the block trilogies more at the end of the year. Right now it's kind of up in the air.
Gotcha.
And just a lot of fun. I do my podcast every Wednesday.
You guys have to watch it. I tagged her channel, but I will make sure there's a link to. You guys have to watch her podcast. It looks like it looks like you have a great time. First of all, she has really great guests.
Thank you. Thank you. Cherie's World podcast is actually the brainchild of the producer, Courtney, and he's also my co-host. And Courtney and I meet up. We do about 6 shows a day. And Cherie's World is just about everything that's going on in the world that affects me or that I read and sticks in my mind, or people that I love and admire. And some of my friends come on and you get to meet them in the way that I know them.
And you know what? That's kind of my show. My show is to motivate and inspire you to live the life you deserve. But 90% of my guests are people that I know. And I know that their stories are really great. And so I bring them to you. I always tell everyone how I know people. I tell you, I did not know Cherie at all. I just was an avid fan of the show. And when I heard about the reboot, I was extremely excited. And I just got this crazy idea that she would maybe do my show. And here she is.
And the idea is not crazy at all because you totally manifested it. You wrote me and I wrote back, and boop, now I got a Dr. Homegirl for life.
Look, now I got to try and get on her show, you guys.
For sure, so that I can ask you all those, women's body changes every 7 years. Nobody tells you that growing up.
They forget to tell us a lot of things, just like, I've had friends that have had babies and they're like, Renee, what is this going on? And I was like, oh, your doctor didn't mention that.
No, they forget to tell you a lot.
No, I have, I do PR for doctors, and my doctor clients, I have twin doctors. The twin doctors is actually, you can find them everywhere, twin doctors. They wrote a book, everything you ever wanted to know about pregnancy, but we're too afraid to ask.
I wish that book would have been around 5 years ago. I love my doctor. I cannot say anything. Dr. Van Giema had a really rough pregnancy. So I was going into labor at 14 weeks and I ended up getting a cerclage. And not only did I get a cerclage, but I ended up on my back. He told me that if I didn't go home and lay my butt down, he was going to put me in the hospital in traction. I was on bed rest for remainder of my pregnancy.
Wow.
And I ended up taking heart meds because heart meds protects your heart and controls your contractions because I had contractions the entire time.
Oh, goodness.
And so this poor man had to see me every week because I started getting those shots to develop her lungs early, the steroid shots in my booty. So I got pop marks like a stripper now in my booty because those steroid shots, they mark you. Uh-huh. He got to know me too well. Because I'm one of those patients that say anything that comes to mind.
And you ask questions?
Too many. And sometimes he was in a compromising position for him, but I was like, yo, you're as close as anybody's going to be to me ever. I'm just going to talk. And so Dr. Van Giema, I love him. I had a very high risk pregnancy. I delivered all the way until I held her until the day before her due date. And which we didn't expect. Because once he took those stitches out, he was like, all right, baby girl, you can come anytime. And she stayed in there 17 hours of labor. I had an emergency C-section and I was telling jokes in the labor room.
Hilarious. But yeah, that is, there's, like I said, their book is thick. I'm like, you guys.
I wish.
You didn't just go write a book. This is a darn Bible.
I wish. I was going through premenopause before I actually got pregnant. And now I'm like out of it. And I'm like, wait, I already did what I needed to do. Can we go back to premenopause again? I want this to be over. So is there like a way I can make this be over?
Oh God, sorry. That is crazy for you to do that. And so then you got to do this again.
Right. Well, okay. So if I can just be very candid, I go to the doctor one day and I'm like, yo, I have HIV. My doctor's like, what do you mean? I do not have HIV. So I was like, I have night sweats. I'm waking up. I'm having these hot flashes. Well, when you go to WebMD and you Google all your symptoms, that's what it gives you, right? So the nurse practitioner comes in. She takes my blood. They don't call me. They're supposed to call you, right? I get no call. It's been 10 days. It's been 12 days because I'm, waiting the extra days. I'm like, yo, I call and I'm like, somebody has to tell me something. I've had diarrhea for like 12 days. What's going on? She goes, can you please hold? I was probably on hold for 3 minutes. It felt like 3 hours.
Right.
She gets on the phone. She goes, baby, your tests all came back negative. Well, I bust out crying because negative is bad, right? And because in my head, I'm already convinced because WebMD, she said, you know what we do see though, is your estrogen levels are really low. Maybe you're going through premenopause. You know what? Let's see what happens during this next period. Come back in and talk to me. And I wasn't getting like the bright blood, you know? And I'm just gonna be a little graphic if that's okay, because women need to know. I had the thick, dark brown blood and nothing else was coming out, and it was only lasting 3 days. I usually have like a 7-day heavy period. That was gone. And so she was like, look, we can do this, we could do that, or we could do nothing. But if you want to have kids, maybe you need to think about hurrying up. And so it took me a couple years, 2 years, 3 years to get pregnant. And now I don't know what happened. That little monster just knocked everything back in place. And it's like I never went through that whole trauma. Why does that happen, doctor?
That is terrible. I'm sorry for you because it isn't fun.
No, and I had, since I had to have a C-section, it wasn't planned. I asked him, I said, yo, why you in there? Can't you just rip everything out? And he was like, honey, you're young. Everything still looks good. Let's leave everything where it is. Because if I rip everything out, it could start to cause other problems. And so I still have all my parts, but he might have to just like, take it. I don't need it no more. I did what I needed to do.
You one and done?
Yeah, I'm not doing that no more. Because what if I have to have another? And he goes, every pregnancy is different. You never know. What if I have to have another cerclage?
Yeah, now for that, I think I might be scarred a little bit because they always say you'll forget it. You know, no, I might not forget that.
I had contractions for 7 months.
Yeah.
He brought a nurse in for me because he was like, how do you not know what contractions are? I said, I have really bad periods, and people told me that it was Braxton Hicks pains. So this is my first pregnancy. I thought I was having Braxton Hicks pains. I didn't want to complain. He was like, no, you're having contractions. There's a difference.
You must have a high threshold for pain.
I do.
Okay. Yeah.
And my periods were bad. So I really did not know. But I had contractions for 7 months.
Well, thank you, Rhythm, because clearly she was determined to be here.
Yeah, she did everything early. She came, she wanted to come early. She was reading early. She's 6, but she's in the 4th grade. Because she be rushing, which is very, very bright.
Homeschool?
Yes. I have no choice.
Well, now, yeah.
I can't send her to school with 9 and 10-year-olds.
Yeah. Because I've seen pictures. She's a cute little thing. She don't look old.
No, but she's like really articulate, and she's doing division and fractions like it's nothing. And so I can't, the maturity level of a 9.
I understand. We actually were talking about this with some family members, and I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
She still needs a break every 15 minutes and will tell you in the middle of doing something, all right, I'm done. And she's outside on the swing set, and you're like, but you need to, she'll come back and finish when she's ready. But she still got to get that playing in.
Right. Well, that makes perfect sense because you don't, especially nowadays, it's not like when we were younger. It's so different.
Yeah, they know a lot.
They do. They know way too much.
Yeah, I would like to keep her 6.
Yeah. Yeah, they know way too much, way too soon. They're doing all sorts of things that I never heard of until I was grown.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
No, and she's very much like 6. If she goes anywhere, she goes to Soleil's house. That's her second family. That's home for her. And so her kids are kids too.
Yeah. That's good. That's
yeah.
Good. Well, you guys, I hope that you all will please make sure you subscribe to her podcast. Like I said, she is a YouTuber too, so she understands this whole YouTube game. So please subscribe. Her interview, she's interviewed Spinderella, you guys. That interview with Stevie D spoke to me because Tender Love was my jam. And Love is a House. I used to do the little, remember?
Love is a house.
Yeah.
Yes.
So please, you guys, make certain that you follow everything she's doing. Support. Let's tweet Instagram, Face, whatever we have to do to Peacock to let them know we'll just tell them we need 8 seasons of Punky Brewster.
Yes, 8.
Let's just tell them, you guys.
Let me grow up all over again. You know what I'm saying? I said, let me grow up all over again with you guys.
Yes, exactly. And this will be shows that we can actually watch as a family. Like your kids can watch too. You don't have to be worried about the wrong person coming on the screen or saying the wrong. No, your children can be involved because kids are on the show too. So this will be back to the way, because it's so funny. I have the entire series of The Facts of Life. I have the entire series of Seventh Heaven. Like wherever I see them and I see them at the right price, I just buy the whole thing. I have Life Goes On. And I tell people that when my children, that I don't have yet, but knock on wood.
That's okay. Manifest.
I am. Those children will watch these things because these were real shows. Give me a break.
Oh yeah.
I was like, these were real shows and they covered real issues, but they were age appropriate.
Yes. And that's what we're hoping, you know, Punky will open up those hard conversations that people weren't having with their kids for a while. But during COVID, what a great time to spend time with your kids and really talk.
And you guys really hit it. Like that whole Daniel thing, like blew. I was like, because when I went to play it and I saw the clip, the little synopsis, I go, what? Oh, let me hit play. I was like, this is so interesting. So you guys really need to watch the show, but you need to encourage Peacock to please bring more episodes because this show is going to hit those things. And if you're one of those parents who can't talk about certain subjects, then perhaps Punky Brewster could help you to cover some things with your children. My mom was the total opposite. She could talk about any and everything, but we watched 90210 together because they covered such, because I was a teen and they covered the things that were going on in high school. And so my mother would use that as we watched it. She would talk about, Renee,
as a segue. Yeah. And that's always been Punky. That was my uncle's vision. You know, he loved kids. He was help raising me. And I think maybe he had conversations with me a lot through the characters that I played.
That is so cool. And kudos to your uncle. Is he still doing stuff?
Mr. David Duclon. So he is retired. Okay. So he says Malcolm and Eddie was one of his last shows.
Okay.
He did the Eve show.
Oh, okay.
The Eve show, I think, was one of his last shows. He said he kind of passed the torch, but he was very excited. A lot of people had actually approached him about doing Punky, but he loves the team that approached him this time because they wanted to keep the integrity of the show. And
that's important.
Yes, he's still on board. He's still consulting, but he's kind of passed the torch to his baby girl.
Love it.
He's retired. Yeah.
That is so. And then I noticed in the credits that Soleil is one of the executive producers.
Absolutely.
That is so cool.
Absolutely, which is so majorly important because she's Punky.
Yeah.
And if anybody is going to keep the integrity of the show, it's going to be her.
Yeah. And I mean, she had there was the cartoon and then the lunch boxes. I mean, you guys had so much. It was a huge part of our growing up. Like
it's so incredible to come back and watch my best friend. From the time when we were little, we have these like run-throughs where the producers stay and give their notes after every scene to the director, and that's where the scripts are going to change. And Soleil and I used to always leave the run-through together. So when we came back this season, the first AD would always be like, "Oh, you can go." I'd be like, "No, I can't. I'm watching my friend be a boss." She's over there with the producer. I want to cry because I'm so proud of her. But watching her give notes to the directors and, looking at the sets and just saying, "Hey, this picture, I don't think that's right. I think it needs to be like this," or whatever, or her line changes. It's so amazing to watch this little girl.
Now, what was the interaction when you guys first met?
Oh, when we were kids?
Yeah.
We became friends at the audition. The very first audition, we were sitting in the chair together and we were drawing pictures. And so that was before the days of the internet. It was before the days of cell phones. We never exchanged numbers, but we were so excited every time we came back. We were just kids. Kids were spontaneous then. So every time we came back, I was there and she was there. And the very last audition, they brought us in the room together, I guess, for like a chemistry kind of read. And they let us just play. They opened up this trunk of clothes and we played dress up. And I think what we did different than the other group of girls that went in, because we had already become friends in the waiting room, we were dressing each other while the other girls were in there dressing themselves. I mean, it was crazy. It was like boas and hats and sparkly dresses. And I was, she was like, hey, put this necklace on. I was like, girl, wear this hat. She was already my friend. So the chemistry was real in interacting. And now she's like 37 years later. She's more like my sister.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. So you guys, the episode that is, I must probably be, it's one of my favorites. I don't think it's my favorite. I have to watch the whole season, the whole series again. But one of my favorites, because if you guys don't know, in my other life, I did PR for actual entertainers. And one of them was Chico DeBarge. And so I told Cherie how me and Chico, the first time we met, we went to lunch and I was telling him how I remembered when DeBarge was on Punky Brewster. He's so slick. He never said anything about he was on there too. So I'm thinking this whole time that it was his brothers, because I remember when they were on Facts of Life, it wasn't Chico, it was Elle, and yeah.
Because he was the baby.
Exactly. And so I'm not even thinking that. And he never, to this day, has never, ever, the next time I talk to him, I'll mention it, but he has never said anything about it. But it's so funny because he sat there and let me go on and never said. And then years later, I happened to see that episode or see a clip of it. And I go, oh my God, that is Chico with that blonde hair.
Yeah.
Like, oh my, because I even mentioned how they were dressed very, 80s style and ponytail and punk rock looking. And I totally never put together he was in it. It was so funny. But I was just like, and then I watched the episode again last night and I was like, that is so cool that you got to hang out with them. Like I told her, I've met Elle, but Chico has a special place in my heart because that was my first real celebrity client. And he took a chance on me, and he's so sweet. Love him to pieces.
So Lay and I are still in love with him after all these years. Those men were very wonderful to us as kids. That's one of our favorite episodes as well.
Yeah, that and the song, and they sounded so wonderful. I mean, they sang two. The Bard sang one song, and then Chico sang a song. It was just flood of memories. Like wow, But yeah, that show just, I don't know, it was just such a great show. So I really thank you for this. This has been amazing, and I hope that everybody will please make sure you follow her. Let's share this, because the more you share this, then people will be reminded to watch the show. And so Peacock, I'm sure somehow technologically can see how many people watch the show. Yeah. That'll encourage them to please give us more seasons, because we need more seasons. I've seen other streaming shows that, like you said, out the gate, they're like, they do one season or for a couple episodes. And then they're like, oh, we've signed them up for 3 seasons. So this is all possible, you guys.
Can we get like multiple season deal, please?
Come on, let's do that. And let's go get the book. What is it about? Cucumbers Are Delicious, right?
Cucumbers Are Delicious. It's about a little girl who grows cucumbers with a Grammy.
Yes. So you guys, let's go buy the book. Let's support, that's what we do here, is we support each other. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. And I have one more request of you after we're done. But everyone, next week we have Brandy Riley, who is actually my coach. Brandy is a blogger extraordinaire, brand influencer person that is helping me with my brand, helping me with the projects I'm working on. And so she's going to be here next week to tell her story. Her story is very amazing as well, how she's created such an amazing community. She, she's a mother and works from home on her computer, doing all these amazing things, working with these amazing brands. So you guys, please don't forget. And then the last week of the month, you guys, we have Brian Smiley, who is a very close family friend, who is the president of Heartbeat Productions, as in Kevin Hart. So that's the month of April. And then May, big things coming in May. So we'll talk about that later. But you guys, don't forget, next Saturday, same time, same place. I will see you then. Thank you again, Cherie.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.